Hey everyone, our episode today is presented exclusively by Warby Parker, a premium online eyewear outlet. What you do is you visit warbyparker.com/100words and sign up for their program. What they do is they ship you 5 pairs of glasses. You can try them on. You can see how they look on your face. You can ask your significant other, do I look silly in these things? Are these good? What do I do? And then after you have picked your glasses, you mail the others back. They send you a prescription within 10 days. Boom. A new pair of glasses. You look awesome. Visit warbyparker.com/100words. That's it. That's all you need to do. Look good. Feel good. Now on with the show.
This podcast is part of the How We Are Network. For information on this episode and many other like-minded shows, visit howweare.org. That's HOWWEARE.org.
What's up, everybody? I am Ray Harkins, and I am your host of this beautiful podcast called 100 Words or Less. I appreciate you coming and visiting and listening and putting my voice into your ears. The guest this week is Dan Lampton from the band Real Friends. Quite a hot band right now. A hype band, as the kids are saying. I personally love what they do, and I think if you are a fan of anything pop and or punk, you probably will be into them as well. More on them in a minute. Get some business stuff out of the way. Propertyofzach.com. They are an awesome media partner of ours. Visit their website. You will be able to find out so much information, so much stuff on independent music, release dates, tours, anything you can find there. Propertyofzach.com. Review the show. I know, I feel like a broken record. Well, I know I say this every single show, but it really is an important component of what this show does because it makes it look cool to advertisers, be like, yo, there's people who like this show. So visit iTunes, drop some stars. If you're feeling ever so generous, you can write a few sentences on the show, what you think about it, and I read them religiously. So if you do that, I would appreciate that. I went to a show last night. I got to get this off my head. And I know this is kind of a trope now because a lot of people discuss this in a public forum. So I went to go see a band called Washout play last night. And it's one of those things now where it's obviously common once the band starts to play, or if the band's hot single comes on or whatever, 30% of the room, their phones pop up and they start either taking pictures or recording. And I mean, I usually take like 1, maybe 2 pictures at the show just to kind of, commemorate it, or obviously to post on a social network in order to prove that I was there. Because obviously that's the only way that anybody shows that they're cool is via sharing it through Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I joke, but it's one of those things where it's, I know Louis C.K. does a joke. He says like, hey, you can put that thing down and you can see a pretty high definition photo of what's happening, like right in fucking front of you. And I'm not that bothered by it, but it is one of those things where it's like you as a attendee of a show or whatever, your eye immediately goes to that screen. Like it's just kind of, especially if they're, within eye shot of you, which is, basically anybody standing in front of you. I don't know, it's just weird because your eyes just are immediately drawn to it, and it kind of like, it completely disconnects you from whatever you're experiencing as far as like just watching the band play. I mean, it's the same conception as like, you just want to absolutely yell at people that obviously pull their phones out in a movie. Nothing is more infuriating than having that happen. But so to show, it's kind of like, I'd like to say that we're getting there to where it's like people are so bummed that it's just like, just knock it off. You don't need to record this entire song. Just how about you watch it? So I'm still trying to sort out how I actually feel about it because, like I said, I do participate in it, but not to the extent of where it's like, all right, I'm taking, 40 photos in order to get that one perfect photo to be able to show off that I was at the show and be like, oh man, sick photo or whatever. And so I don't know. I feel like we should be putting those things down. We should be like interacting with what's happening right in front of us. And I know it's probably a larger cultural criticism and conversation that should be had. I try to be very, very conscious of it, where it's like when I do take out my phone and I am taking a photo of something, I'm doing it quick. I'm in, I'm out. There we go. I commemorated the evening. if I do decide to share something or whatever. Or I just want to show, my wife, be like, hey, this is what the band look like. She's like, cool, that's great. So yeah, tell me what you think. Email the show, 100wordspodcast@gmail.com, because I would love to have open discussion with a few people about this, because anybody that goes to a concert or a show experiences this. And it's like, I think I see people bringing out their iPads, and it's like, what are we going to do with this? Like, this is crazy. Why are people bringing these huge devices to record stuff and take pictures? Like, I don't know. There's lines that need to be drawn. And these lines, I'm not 100% sure where they're at yet, but I feel like we're getting to that spot where it is so pervasive, and we need to have an opinion about this, including myself. So anyways, had to get that off my chest. But let's talk about Dan Lampton. He is the vocalist for the band Real Friends. I met up with them, it was late last year, when they came through and they played Chain Reaction here in Southern California. I'd known Dan for a while through my day job. I had met him a few times, and basically watched the band grow. It was one of those things where it's like I saw them on their first full U.S. tour, kids trying to figure out where they kind of sat and what they were doing, but they already had a pretty good head of steam going into that tour where, they were the opening band on this, tour, and they were playing like the House of Blues Anaheim, and there were kids that were already singing along, and not just like 5 or 6, but like, close to 100 kids who were really participating in what they had going on. And so they're definitely quote unquote on the rise. They got a lot of good things going on for them. And because of that, it makes them a very, very easy target, because style of music that they're playing and how they present themselves is not unlike other bands that they could be compared to, and it's easy for people to kind of, throw stones at it. So I personally really like the band. I love what they do, and all of my interactions with everybody in the band, they're in it for the right reasons. They're doing it because they have fun with this, and they've been playing music for a long time, and now it just seems that people are paying attention to it. So I don't know why I feel like I need to defend the band or something like that, but because we talk about that in our interview. But this was the first interview where I felt I'm a pretty high energy dude. And I definitely feel like I need to dial it back for certain interviews to not be like, dude, let's talk about everything. Holy shit. But this was the first interview where my energy was completely outpaced by Dan. Dan was so either amped up from playing or amped up or getting ready to play. I don't know, but he was vibrating. We were hanging out in their van talking, and it was like, I felt myself, and I don't know if you'll be able to hear a difference, but I definitely feel a little more frantic in the way that we were talking and just kind of throwing stuff back and forth. And I don't know, it made for a really, really cool energy, just because normally, like I said, I feel like I got to tone myself down. Not saying that people can't keep up with me. I'm so high octane. That's not what I'm saying. I felt an energy in this van, and it was awesome. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Dan. I will talk to you afterwards.
Growing up is giving up. I'll sleep sideways on the bed in my mom's basement. It's where I feel at home. You'll sleep with regret.
Usually I start these things off with just my own personal sort of anecdote of where I became introduced to you and the music you create and stuff. So, prior to me seeing you guys on the first tour that you did, the Census Fail tour, because that was your first official full tour, correct?
That was first US, yeah.
Sure, because you had done an East Coast tour.
We'd done the first ever tour we did was 2 weeks, just us, and it was just from Chicago to New England. And
back, got it.
And then we did a 3-week run with a band called Light Years, and that was down south of Texas and Florida. So before the Census Fail tour, we had never played anywhere west of Texas, and before this tour, we'd never been able to headline west of Texas.
Right.
So it's like a lot of it is still new territory for us, but it's really cool because it's finally now we can see how a Real Friend show is going to be in California. I'm excited to finally be able to see play it Chain Reaction. I hear so much.
Yeah.
Everyone's set streaming tonight. Chain Reaction. We're fucking playing Chain Reaction. Sold out Chain Reaction. It's every time I hear about Chain Reaction, it's always awesome. It's nothing and it's the same with a lot of venues that were playing on this tour that were
right. The reputation preceded it, and you're wow, now I actually get to be here.
Yeah,
and exist.
The one place we haven't gotten to play at so far that I really want to play at is 924 Gilman.
Oh, sure.
In the Bay Area.
Yep, in Berkeley. Yeah.
I'd be going through my Rancid booklets and posters and stuff.
Of course.
And seeing all those flyers Green Day, Rancid, blah blah blah. 924 Gilman, 924 Gilman. And then recently I see more and more we're playing at Gilman, I'm
it goes in waves. There are times where it's the shows kind of die down there, the collective. And usually it's just because the collective booking people like it just kind of gets kind of thinned out because there's not one person that books there. There's like it's like like 7 or 8 people. So it's like when you don't see very many shows, it's just because like 2 people are booking there, But so I mean that was the first time I saw you guys on that Census Fail tour. But prior to that, I had heard the band's name just kind of rolling around. I personally am like 33 years old, and pop punk doesn't, and I use that word in the very friendliest sense of the term, because a lot of people, take offense to that, but I don't think it's an offensive term. It needs to do something for me in order for me to be like, oh, like that's cool. Like, because I mean, I've already hypothetically gone through that stage in my life.
Well, it's been around really since like the early 2000s. So.
Yeah, no, totally. And I mean, obviously even predating that, in the 90s it was like Jawbreaker. So, but there was something about you guys that it's like, once I started to listen to you, once people started to speak like, oh, dude, Real Friends, like they're, they're doing well. And like, in the industry, the buzz was building. But then when I met you guys and then when I saw you, it was one of those things where it was just like, oh, these are just fucking goofballs. Like, these are just like dorks, nerds, whatever label you want to put on yourself. It stripped away any negative perception I may have had going into it, as far as like, because you hear about bands, especially bands like yourself, who it's like they've kind of been on the scene for a quote unquote short period of time.
Yeah.
And you sometimes feel that those bands have like a business plan before they have songs or whatever, Like, does that still continually, like, get lumped on you guys, where it's
like what it is, like, what we did going into this band, we were, like, we kind of did, like, want to take it, like, more seriously than our other bands, because, like, where I would be at in every band prior to Real Friends, or really the only other band I was really in.
Yeah.
Like, they were really, like, oh, we want to be, like, the most famous rock band and not have any sort of, like, foundation to build upon that.
Okay.
So I was just kind of like, oh, I just want to play some shows, So it's like they take it too seriously with nothing to back it up, and then I'm just kind of like,
right,
dude, I just want to fucking play. And then so like finally to be able to like play with people, it's like everyone's on the same page, and like we want to do this, like this, like we wanted to have like CDs and shirts, for instance, ready before like we played a first show, just so it's like, when we play that show, it's like, somebody can take something home, like they can get our CD that we just we just pressed and everything. And like, I mean, if you'd consider that a business plan, like,
right, well, and that's why I think it makes it different, where it's just like you had a better sense of like how to do things as a band, but there was never that sense of like here we are trying to be as large as Blink-182, like right out the gates, like this is what we're gonna do, and because, and just like I said, once I met you guys, it just kind of, it made me feel more, I guess, at ease and like comfortable with the fact that it's like, oh, okay, like, this,
well, I mean, we're not even like shooting like for the stars or anything like that with this band. It's just kind of like we never really had any expectations. Like, we started the band and we were like, and like this was only like the 3rd band I'd been in, because I was in like some like punk band in high school, and then I was in like some fucking like gutter punk band with our friend Frankie that's doing merch for us on this tour.
Yeah.
So like I never really had a grasp on like what it was to like actually like be in a band. I had played bass. I'd never sang in bands before either. So like being in this band was like a lot of transitions, and like Kyle had like been there, done that at like the local level, and his band was like pretty popular like locally, so he knew what he was doing.
Right.
But it was just like, like we want to play these songs, like we want to like something we can have fun with, but we can take seriously if the time comes. So it's like, like, and we were just like, like if we can get to a point where we can do like a 2-week tour and like, not have to lose a shit ton of money on it, like that's like, that's ideal. It took like about 1.5 years, and when we put out our second EP, and then, we wanted to wait for like a demand, because a lot of bands, like what they do is like they just blindly go out on tour, and like I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like sometimes if you do it too much, it's like you can only really go so far, because you have to be at home with a job.
Of course.
Like, a lot of people have to pay rent. We're really fortunate to where most of us live with our parents. So rent
isn't the perfect opportunity to do it.
It's like I got this. Well, like let me be in this band before I get kicked out of my parents' house.
Right.
Like, so.
Yeah, well, no, that's like the opportune time to obviously play in bands and play music is like between the ages of like 17 and like 24. As far as like getting out there, and like you said, you've got no overhead. You literally pay for yourself, and that's it. And then when you come home, you don't have that immediate crushing blow of like, shit, like I gotta hit rent. I gotta have like all. It's like, no, like I'll take a week. Like we'll be cool. Like everything will be fine. And
and we were really fortunate. Like all of us, like we had jobs that were cool with us. Like
leaving,
2 weeks, cool. Like 3 weeks here, that's fine. Like, because we were all in a position where we'd either been there for a while, or we're all really hard workers, and it's like,
they trust
they're cool with it. Yeah. So like, Like, we just, like, I honestly just think we were really lucky, like, to, like, have our parents, like, you know, but
it was all just kind of like, the timing was right for you guys to try to take this, like, I guess as serious as you could with all the experience that you had. Because I think, I mean, what you were saying as far as, like, everybody kind of bringing their own personal experiences, I think that's obviously so important, because you're able to learn from all the fucking terrible shit you did when you were 16, 17 in a band. Like, oh, like, we made like 300 shirts and like we spent, $7,000 and like we sold 40. Like, whoa, like, I don't know how to order merch. Like, all those little things you don't think about. But then once you make that mistake, you're probably not going to do it again.
Yeah, because it's like, yeah, we'd all like been there, done that, and like, and we had like Kyle like really like guided us through a lot of that shit. But like, and it's like, we did it just like all the other bands. Like, we split the cost for all the shirts, we split the cost for CDs, recording, everything. It's like, because everybody starts somewhere. It's not like we put out a CD and then everyone's like, oh my god, like throw money at them, blah blah blah. Like, it's like it's like we never really had concrete expectations. Like, of course, like, me being in band super young, it's like, oh, like, if I could ever play Warped Tour, like, that would be the fucking shit.
Right.
And, like, we got to play 2.5 weeks on this past Warped Tour, so it's like, yo, my dreams already passed. Like, this band has met and exceeded any expectations I could ever have. So it's like, now anything after is just like, it's just dessert.
You're like, I'm good.
Yeah, it's like, I don't care. Yeah, like no, seriously though, like we're very fortunate. Like, we have a lot of fans. Like, we try to build a relationship with our fans.
Of course,
we're like really lucky to have people that support us, and we try our hardest to like take advantage of social networking and be like, because like if I had that when I was younger, like, oh fuck, I totally appreciate all these bands like way more than I already did. Like, I was already like lording out and like going crazy and like buying merch and everything. But if I had like a chance to like send a tweet at like when I was a kid, like Rancid or like Blink-182, and like there was a chance that they'd see that and respond to me. It's like, fuck, like, it's awesome.
When are you gonna have that direct? Yeah, and it strikes me, the way that you guys handle, and when I say handle, I don't mean that in like a business sense, but like the way that you guys present yourselves, not only just as people, but like obviously as a collective band, the way you handle your social networking, you're really trying to be like on that level, because obviously it's so easy for kids that go to shows to put a band up on a pedestal and be like, oh dude, like, they're the fucking best thing of all time. And you guys are like, you guys seem to me like you continually try to shatter that expectation and like just put kids on the same level as you.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like when I was going to shows, like, I'd be that kid in the front. Like, I'd be the person getting like stomped on from headwalkers and like trampled by crowd surfers and jumped on by stage divers. It's like, it's like I've been there, so it's like, why, like, how does like me having a microphone and my friends having guitars, like, how does that make us better than
how are we really different?
It's like everyone that comes to these shows has been there.
You yourself, you were born and raised in like suburbs of Chicago, right?
Yes.
Okay. Where in particular? Like North Chicago?
I was in well, all of us except for our drummer are all south suburbs. I live in a town called Evergreen Park, which is, if I'm correct, it's about 10 miles outside of the city.
Okay.
But I'm surrounded by everything that's technically Chicago.
Got it.
And like,
what was your what's your family structure like? You were like brothers and sisters?
It's me, my parents, and then I have one younger brother and then a younger sister.
Okay.
So I'm the oldest.
You were the oldest. You were the trailblazer.
Yes, I was the trailblazer.
And so, how old are you?
I'm 22.
Okay. And what are your do your parents still do the same stuff professionally that they were doing? Like,
well, I know my dad's been a social worker for however long he's been doing that. Like,
years.
Obviously, since before I was born.
Right.
And my mom, I think she had some sort of background in that before I was born.
Okay.
And then once she had me and my brother and my sister, she took to being a stay-at-home mom.
Of course.
But since we've been able to be more independent, she does a lot of baking outside.
Nice.
From out of our house. Yeah.
Oh, rad.
Yeah.
Like for just like her own enjoyment, or like she actually like sells
she sells, like,
nice.
so people like order like cookies and cupcakes and cakes and shit for my mom.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's the name of her business?
It's Maria's Caketopia.
Caketopia, I love that.
I mean, she's had a couple different
names.
I'm almost positive that's the current name.
Yeah, the current moniker.
Yes.
And so, like, what type of social work does your dad do? Does to low income areas, or like is that?
I think it's more. Yeah, it's more low income. I'm trying to think of the fancy term for it. Sure. I can't.
It's okay.
I can't. It's like SSI or something.
Okay.
But yeah. He works with more like inner city areas. He goes to like juvie places a lot,
okay.
and like he'll go to prisons and stuff like in like Central Illinois every once in a while.
Sure.
And he mostly works in the city though, because he works for the county.
Oh, okay, got it. Yeah, that was my next question. Where it's like, does he work for the city, the county, that type of stuff? And so your upbringing, like, you know, most people think of the suburbs and it's like, oh, like, you know, I mean, I was raised in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's very nice. Like,
oh no, yeah, it's awesome. I mean, like right now, Chicago's like the murder capital.
Yeah. I don't even think you need to put air quotes around that.
Yeah,
it pretty much is.
But I mean, but honestly, like, that's because it's such a big city. I think it's because it's like the third biggest city, but it's not the most dangerous, because if you go to like Flint or like Detroit, like those are considered more dangerous because they're smaller, because it's a lot more concentrated and dense within the area. Sure. But like with us, like it's really like, it's not where I'm at, like it's not a bad area. I mean, like of course, like it's like wherever you go, you're gonna have like shitty people doing shitty things. So it's like honestly, like Chicago's a nice place. I was very fortunate to grow up in a pretty nice suburb on the south side. I mean, like I've been really lucky. Fortunate.
When you started to, you know, grow up in like your formative years, as far as like junior high school and stuff like that, is that when like independent music started to get kind of introduced to you, or were your parents musical at all?
My parents never did anything music. Like they never pursued anything. I think my dad told me he used to like play bass and stuff, and then he said, you know, coincidentally sold his bass, got a ring, like, you know. But I guess I have some sort of musical background.
Yeah, but it wasn't present.
No, not when I was coming out.
Yeah.
But like my dad was like huge on like the Beatles, so I was listening to like, you know, really like early pop music.
Sure.
And then when I was in 5th grade, I started playing saxophone because my cousin is a band director at a town not too far from me.
Oh wow!
And so I played saxophone from 5th to 12th grade.
Dude, because I played clarinet for a year, and I was fucking terrible. Basically, she had a clarinet, so she's like, "You're gonna play clarinet." I have asthma. Like, that's a terrible thing to give to a kid that has asthma. But like, isn't the trajectory you're supposed to play a simpler? Because the saxophone is pretty complicated, right?
Well, saxophone, it's pretty. I think the clarinet's harder.
Really?
Personally, well, because the clarinet you have to worry about like open holes along with pads.
Yeah.
I mean, and then because I played alto sax, which is transposed into E flat, and then when I got to high school, my band director was very adamant on switching people around and like seeing like it's like, oh, you're open to playing this, like, oh, yo, let's put you on this. So he put me on bari sax, which is the lower end. So because we didn't have too many lower brass, so I just jumped into that. It was very easy. Bari sax is so easy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I started off doing that, and then when I hit junior high, I was really big into like Blink and Green Day and stuff like that, and like I idolized Mark Hoppus, so I bought a bass.
How did you how was that stuff introduced to you? Was it just like the radio?
Well, my cousin, cousin and one of my friends. My friend would play. I'd go to his house and he'd play like, you know, we'd be listening to like Limp Bizkit and like Korn, and then what really caught me
the heavy shit.
Yeah. So I'd listen to that stuff too, like System of a Down, and then then what really caught my eye was when he put on Sticks and Stones and Enema of the State.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, this is cool. So I'm like listening to it at his house. You know, I don't have a copy of the CD, but it's like whenever we're over, he's like, oh, let's listen to CDs. And then a couple of weeks later, my cousin, like I'm going through her CDs and I see Enema of the State in there. I'm like, oh, this CD, like my friend has the CD. Oh, she's like, I don't listen to it. Do you want it? So she gave me that, and she gave me Sum 41, All Killer No Filler.
Nice.
And then I was big into like the Tony Hawk soundtrack games.
Yeah.
So like through there I found like Less Than Jake and Rancid.
Right.
Like so I got like more of like a punk thing from there, and then I got some pop punk coming in, and then I listened to like some of the new metal, and like and then like I idolized Mark Hoppus. So I was like, I want to fucking play bass. That looks so easy. Like, and then like so I played bass in all the bands, and then like I do backup vocals and stuff, and then
right.
You know,
did you enjoy the like saxophone? Like, was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I think I kind of took it for granted in high school, like, because like a lot of kids when I was younger, a lot of the older kids fucked around and stuff. So like I kind of took that to being like, you know, I didn't take band too seriously.
Yeah.
So like I took some like I have some knowledge of music theory, not as much as I would like to have. So in some ways, I wish I took it seriously. But then there were some kids that would come back that were like that age that were fucking around. They come back and they're like, yeah, man, like I wish that like I didn't fuck around too much. And I'm like, fuck you, dude. Like, you're a sellout. Like, it's like, so to an extent, like, I'm glad I kind of like was able to have fun with it. Cause like I didn't do it because like I was forced into being in the band. Like, I did it because I liked playing music. But it's like, but then I'm not, like, I was like a real rebellious asshole in high school in some cases. And like, I just like really fucked around and didn't really take it as serious as I should have.
Sure.
But.
I'm just building my mental picture of you. So so like once you started to enter high school, because I mean obviously you played the saxophone for a long time, so that takes dedication. Did you ever move up to like, were you first chair? Like, because I know that there were.
Well, with Barry Sax there was only one chair, so I was first chair.
By default, got it.
Yeah, I mean, like, well, I played saxophone like the first year, and when you're an underclassman, you're never higher than.
Do you get some solos in there at all?
No.
Yeah.
No,
because I mean, if you're baritone, obviously you're not.
When you go Barry sax, sometimes you have more clear-cut parts as opposed to like a first chair, second chair alto.
Right.
But
and you did a lot of recitals, I presume, and stuff like that.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, we would. We'd have like band concerts like in the auditorium and stuff, and like our director would make us go do like sectionals and stuff, and like if we could like get combos together and stuff and buy sheet music, then we can go do that for the competitions and stuff. And like he gave us some freedom, but he made sure that we had some sort of like solo stuff when they had the competitions available.
And did you feel a sense of camaraderie around that? Because I mean, I think there's people have, kind of like you were alluding to, people have such a negative perception of, like being in band, like still, I mean, like parentally, where it's like, oh, like you're being a band, like what are you, fucking dork? Like
oh no, there would be all these kids, like because when we'd march, we'd be out in the fields,
right?
So and obviously when it's warm enough to be outside, of course the people in gym are going to be outside,
right?
So there would be some times where there would be some girls that'll be like, oh my god, like the band kids, like they probably never get laid, and then like other like that was only on a rare occasion, but I mean, I did walk past and hear that sometimes, and I'm just like,
you're like, really?
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on, like those kids are fucking, they fuck like rabbits. Band kids.
Because I mean, to me, it seems like where you would like the band kids would just flock together because.
Oh no, they are all over each other. Like, there's always some like inner band shit going down at some point. Like they're some
drama and everything.
No, not drama. I'm talking just
getting with
fucking,
each other.
Just like not even that. It's just like they just love to get all up in each other. Like,
that's incredible.
But no, I mean, like, but I've been really lucky, like, because like I dealt with a lot of shit, like when I was like really younger, like in elementary school, just for like, not being into sports and playing video games and shit like that. But like once we got out of junior high and like, the kids that were the dicks went to Catholic school and shit, everyone that like ended up in public school was like, they like, it got to a point where like, junior, senior year, it's like, why the fuck do we even care about this anymore?
Right, totally. We're putting all this effort into hating these people or hating these like sections of kids, and you're just kind of like, well, what's the point? Like, let's just leave them alone. Like, they're fine.
Yeah.
And so as you started to, obviously, like you said, you idolized Mark Hoppus and, wanted to play bass. And so once you kind of got looped into that, was it basically like, yo, I got to play in a band? Like, was that like...
well, that's, because like I say, I started like jamming with some of my friends. Like, we didn't have like people or at least enough people to make a real band.
Yeah.
So we had a drummer and then a random kid we had do vocals and then 2 bass players.
Yeah.
And I was one of and I played distorted bass with and then we had a regular bass player, but this was never anything we played shows.
Right.
This was something we just jammed, and and then a little bit after that, like I said, like I was in a band with our merch guy, and like we would like play the talent show. We'd cover Roots Radicals.
Amazing!
Like, we'd cover like No Effects and fucking. I can't even remember what like all the.
But you played the talent. Like, did you actually play shows as well?
Oh yeah, we did. We'd play at the basement of this church that my friend's mom ran.
Nice.
So like we only played like 3 or 4 shows, but.
What was the name of that project?
That project, it was named Void, which is also another. It was already a hardcore band.
100%.
Oh yeah, obviously, like they'd been around since the '80s, so it's like, so we're just like we find out like because we're like just these stupid kids that don't know anything about music.
That's
so
amazing,
then like somebody's like, yo, like that's already a punk band, and then we're like.
Well, whatever.
And then that just kind of fizzled out. And we're just like, and then we're like, okay, well, we're just gonna make it an acronym. So I'm not sure if the actual void was an acronym.
Yeah.
So we're just like, we'll just put periods on it, and it's different.
Yeah, it's different.
You know.
That's good. I love it when you get called out in something like that. You think it's a brilliant idea. You're like, dude, Void's a fucking good band.
Well, we
name.
never got called out for it because everyone we were playing for didn't know about.
Yeah,
the band.
for sure.
Yeah, so,
but yeah, it's like when you think an idea is so good, and then like you come to realize like, oh. Yeah, maybe it wasn't that good of an idea because someone already did it. Like 15
and then like with Blink, for instance, like they got sued over the name.
Exactly.
And then,
yeah. And then they tossed the 182, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
And so go like you mentioned before, where you, for lack of a better term, I would call, and I classified myself as this too, where it's like an indoor kid, where it's like, I personally, I played basketball and golf, but I never, a lot of the team sport and like the jock mentality didn't appeal to me. So it strikes me that you did that as well, where you were just like, yo, I like video games and kind of hanging out with friends, and like, maybe you didn't identify with the, your typical high school experience, or did you enjoy high school?
I didn't like high school, but I didn't get shit on during high school.
Okay, good.
So I'm kind of like, looking back, I'm just kind of indifferent on it. Like, it was like cool. Like, it wasn't like, this best thing ever.
Sure.
Like, I mean, if I can go back and like do it again just to do it again, like I would.
Yeah.
Like, but, I mean, I never had like the
You weren't getting like bullied.
I wasn't like the stereotypical like teenage movie shit on kid. Like that was me in elementary school.
Oh really? Elementary school was your first experience of getting like
Oh yeah. I mean because that's when all the kids are vicious. That's when they don't think before they speak.
Sure.
So that's when then when you get made fun of, like you're playing with Pokemon cards with your friends. I'll say, oh, you guys are nerds. Blah blah blah. That's when.
Oh really?
That's when being a nerd like had a negative connotation. Now if you call me a nerd, I'm just like
yeah, whatever.
Who cares? Yeah, I'm a nerd.
One of the most popular television shows on right now, The Big Bang Theory, like clearly. Like,
oh yeah, exactly.
Nerd has lost
nerds.
meaning. So that's interesting because usually it's like elementary school. I mean, kids are mean to one another, but like it's funny that you have a much stronger impression of elementary school being like, oh, I was made fun of way more then.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the rougher people around me went to Catholic school.
Okay.
And I didn't go to Catholic school, so so I just kind of got to avoid. So maybe if I went to Catholic school, I would have gotten
or
bullied.
You would have got picked on. Yeah.
But,
and so, it's a good thing you didn't, obviously. And so basically, like, did you not take your studies seriously? Like, did you, be like, okay, like, I can't wait to finish high school so I can play in bands? Or like, what was your mentality?
Well, my mentality was to finish high school, because when the band I was in, that was taking themselves really, really seriously, they were throwing around just things. They were like, yo, like, what if like we got a tour offer, like to tour with like this band, and like you were still in school, like would you drop out? And I'm just like,
were they older than you?
Yeah, they were like 2-3 years older than me.
Okay.
So and at this point it's like, yo, I have like a semester left of high school. Like it's like if I drop out now, I'm a fucking idiot.
I'm an idiot. Yeah.
Like and there was no way around it. Like I'm not that dumb. Like I personally think dropping out of high school is the stupidest thing someone can do. I know in some cases it's really unavoidable.
Sure.
There are certain circumstances, but like I think like if it's your choice, like dropping out of high school is so dumb because like
you're shooting yourself in the foot.
And like I hate having to like be an advocate for school, because I don't necessarily like school myself, but it's like if you're ever like trying to get taken seriously, trying to get a job, and you're like 25 and you don't have a high school diploma, it's like, and I mean it really sucks that that's how it is, but that's how it is.
That's
like
reality.
I mean that's how it is with college diplomas. Like I think that's more absurd.
Sure.
So that you need like a college diploma to do. I mean I get. Certain jobs require certain knowledge, but I mean, high school diploma, it's like that's something.
It's basic. You just got to get that done. Right. So
GED's not going to cut it.
No. Were you kind of coasting by just to like bide your time to get out of school, or did you find things interesting in school that you?
I took my grades somewhat seriously because my mom did.
Oh, okay.
So like I just made sure I didn't really fuck anything up to my last semester of high school.
That's nice.
But I mean, like I had like a between 3.2, 3.4 GPA, so I had a decent GPA. I mean, because I waited because I was like, oh, you can take AP classes, like you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, like you can do all this if you really want to. And I'm like, I don't care, right? I don't want to, like it's like I personally didn't see the point in the extra effort to do that. But then like my senior year of high school, it's like, oh, there's a European history class that would be cool to take, but it's a AP college level class. I'll see how that goes. And then my teacher was like, oh, art history, like you can take this class, and she built it up to be this awesome class. And I'm like, actually, that sounds really cool. Like, yeah, of course, like I'll do that for you, because they were really low on kids in the class.
Oh,
and
okay. So
they were like 1 or 2 kids away from making it so the class would happen.
Sure.
So the class happens, and then it was more by the book, all based on the textbook. Like you couldn't have any sort of opinion on why this was painted or what's the meaning of it, or like, you know, they're just like, oh, yo, these cave paintings, this is what this means. This means that, you know, this is like a symbol for fertility, or this is like, or like they did this because of this exact reason, and you don't have a say in it. Right. And it's like, but if it's like art, shouldn't it be
shouldn't we interject our own experiences?
Like it's like there was no room for that. It was all like, oh, here is the Sistine Chapel, this is why, like this here's all of these columns, and you know, this decoration was for this decoration was for this, or why do I have to study what the paintings mean? Why can't I use like some sort of fact, like why can't I take what they meant and then also give my spin on what they meant? It always has to be like, this is what we're telling you the artist thought. Yeah. This is the right answer. This is the A, B, C, D. Like there's no fill in the blank. Yeah. You know,
it's hearing you describe that art class, it strikes me as like you seemed like you were always like self-described. You were kind of a little shit, but I
played by the rules.
But you also I guess for lack of a better term, like you thought about things. Like you kind of let things sit, like as far as like how it applied to your life, and then how you could use it in the future, I guess. Like, you know, you seem to have a little more thought process behind the stuff that you did, rather than just like, you know, not giving a shit, you know? Like, I don't know if that it's something you recognize in yourself, where it's like, oh, like I might be, I guess for lack of a better term, like pretty sensitive to a lot of the world that surrounds you.
I guess I never really looked at it that way. Yeah. But I mean, like, I did give a shit, but I didn't.
Sure.
So
did you get? Was it difficult for your parents and you to communicate? Like, you know, were you having a lot of fights with them and stuff like that?
When I was going into high school, they had a really, like, they wanted me to go to Catholic school, because there was this Catholic school that my dad went to called Marist, and and then he's like, yo, like, we really want you to go to this Catholic school, and I'm just kind of like, I don't want to wear the same shit every day. I don't want to take the bus to school. Like, I could like walk to the public school I went to, but like this one, I like have to get up super early. Like I have to cut my hair, and I was in like, you know, I had like super long hair at some point in high school. Right. But like when I was going to high school, I was at the point where I'd have to cut it. So like I was like, no, fuck that. I want to be like cool. And, like, blah. But so they wanted me to, and I was really fighting it. And I was like, oh, I'll be involved. I'll be like in like clubs and shit if you let me go to public school. And then I was just like, oh, haha, I'm just gonna be in band. Fuck you guys. And then like, I tried soccer out, but it was intramural, and it's like it's just kids that I'm in school with. Like, it's kind of boring. Like I didn't really like, you know.
And so did your parents like see that right away? Like, put us up the river. He's really not going to get that involved in school.
They wanted me to be more involved in school. I was more so worried about being able to get like a job so I can go to shows. Yeah. Because like at this point, it's like, you know, I'm just doing shit around the house, and they're like throwing me $10 like this week. You know, 2 weeks later they'll throw me maybe like $5, like blah blah blah. Like collecting all of this money that I'm getting. Like, because all my money like went to like CDs and like stuff like that. So it's like I was like I said, I was more concerned with finding a better means to independently get myself to shows than, you know, being concerned with what was going on in school. Because it's like, and you know, it's like at the point where it's like, oh, like, mom, let me use your credit card, but I got your cash right here. Like, I need to get this ticket. Like, it's like yo, like this is the band I want to see. Like, I remember specifically like popping in and Out Come the Wolves into my stereo and like showing my dad. I'm like, yo, Dad, I need to borrow your credit card. I have this like $30. Like, please let me buy a ticket to go to this show. Yeah. And he's like, you want to go see a fucking ska band? He's like, because I played him, like, because he was like hearing like Time Bomb and like, you know.
I like how you sold
the fact that you need to experience this is like, hey, Dad, check this out. I'm gonna play some Rancid for you. You'll get it.
Well, my dad loves like, and I guess I didn't get to mention this earlier because I actually forget sometimes. My dad was big into punk rock.
Oh,
and
cool.
this was something I didn't know until way later.
Okay,
like, and he would be telling me, he's like, oh yeah, I went and saw like the Sex Pistols. I've seen the Cars. I've seen the Clash a shit ton.
Sure. So he has the context.
Like my dad, like I guess my dad was a punk.
That's
amazing.
Which
is cool.
Have you seen any pictures of him?
No. No, I haven't. Like, my dad was still like a clean cut kid.
Okay, got it. But he identified.
But he would go to those shows.
Amazing.
And everything. Yeah, like.
So I could see why you would be like, here, I'm putting in Rancid, like, because I'm just imagining you putting in Rancid, and like that's gonna convince your parents.
Yeah,
that sounds good.
Well, my dad would be sitting upstairs with like the radio on anyway, like listening to the Beatles or something, and I'd hear him listening to the Clash, and I'd be like, oh, this kind of sounds like this.
Pardon the interruption, my friends. Do you need glasses? If you do, visit warbyparker.com/100 words. Let me tell you a story. So I've got great eyesight. My wife, my family, everybody is like, dude, you can see so well. This is crazy. But I've always had this desire to have glasses because I love the concept of them as an accessory. There are obviously so many different styles and so many different frames and name brands and everything else, and I even went as far as like wearing a fake pair of glasses in high school. Yeah, I was one of those guys. That was me. I just love the way that they look. Warby Parker, they make this process of getting glasses easy. You sign up via that link that I just told you, warbyparker.com/100 words. They will send you 5 pairs of glasses. You can try them on, see how they sit on your face. Ask your significant other, be like, yo, does this look good? Tell me what the deal is. Because it's always weird when you walk into, an optometrist store. I've been with people that have done this, and you feel kind of like you're getting the hard sell, where it's like, this is very low pressure. They send you 5 pairs. If you hate those 5 pairs, you send them back. And the shipping is free. It's totally easy. And glasses are very cheap on there, starting at $75. And then on top of that, also, for every pair purchased, they donate a pair of glasses to someone in need. So there's so much good stuff there. If you need glasses, warbyparker.com/100 words. Now, on with the show.
Yeah. Dad, I want to go to the show. Like, my dad actually took me to one of my first concerts. He took me to see the Aquabats at Metro in Chicago.
Amazing.
I saw Aquabats, the Agrolites, and Whole Wheat Bread.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad, like, Whole Wheat Bread was a little interesting. I'm sure I'm sure you're familiar. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and they're all like, hey, yo, I know you're all white, but I want y'all to say fuck the police. And then I'm sitting there, and I'm like looking at my dad. I'm like, should I say it, Dad? And then he's just like,
I guess you'll do it.
I don't know. And then I'm just like sitting there, like, and then like my dad was still kind of like nervous about me like going up, like jumping with everyone. But then I found like this little group of kids, like, 10 feet away from him. Yeah, where I could like skank with them. And then that's like when I would like go to like those shows, like I see like the Aquabats and I see like Rancid, like I see like that really like helped me see that like, oh, we're all weirdos here. Like it's like those kids, like it's like you wouldn't like go to like the grocery store or you wouldn't be at like school and like you'd see like kids skanking in the corner and be like, oh, those kids are fucking weird. Yeah, like you go to a show and do that and it's like, oh, whoa, this is awesome.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, like we're all cool. Like being lame is cool here. So that's when I got to see like, and especially Rancid. Sure. And the second time I saw Rancid was with H2O, so that was even more like reinforcing this sense of like I had like that punk rock epiphany where it's like it's like, yo, like you're welcome here. Like it's like if you like you can't fall to the ground without someone picking you up halfway down.
Right.
Like it's like
it fostered that sense of community that you obviously were like, oh, I get this.
Yeah, and I'd be like listening to these albums and like I'd be listening like Life Won't Wait, for instance, and I'd be hearing songs like Hooligans where they clearly like in the beginning like messages like I want to see no people of color, like, fighting with one another. Like, we're all like brothers and sisters. And it's like, and then being able to like see them play Hooligans live and then like, like see those meanings in person. It's like, then that really showed me that it's like, you can move past like everyone's differences. It's like, it's really cool. And I say it every night because I notice these things. Like ever since we were able to play on Warped Tour, it's like you see all these different people doing different things, dressing differently, believing different things, whether they're, gay, straight, black, white, Asian, Mexican, whatever, what have you, whether they listen to Black Veil Brides or they listen to Wonder Years or they listen to like No Facts or whatever. Like it's the fact is that like everyone's there and no matter what bands you're there to see, you're there.
Yeah.
And it's like
you've this you've already entered this world of what should be acceptance, but obviously, like, as you have noticed, like, you see those fractions of people be kind of left out because, like you said, like, oh, well, why is this kid legitimate because he likes Black Veil Brides? Like,
well, yeah, well,
and you're
it's
just like, well, no, you're here.
Yeah, because that's the thing, like, and I know, like, bands will have beef with other bands, like, and they'll say, like, oh, these aren't real bands, but, like, I personally don't think that it's, like, my place to say that. Like, of course, like there are certain bands I look at and I'm like, wow, like, I don't like that. Like, like, this is, like, it's, like, there are very few bands that I, like, look at, I'm like, no one should listen to this band. This is, like, this very, very bad message, and I'm sure that there are certain bands that come to mind, but it's like, I was lucky enough to be young enough to have, like, those kinds of bands introduced to me that show me those values, and it's like, and then just finally being able to, like, go to Warped Tour after, I think I'd been going since 2006.
Sure.
So this was, I think, my 7th or 8th year of Warped Tour, and
well, like, it sounds like the way that you're describing is obviously is exactly how it should be in regards to the bands that influence you when you're younger and, like, get you into independent music. And then if you are able to impart those same values to kids that are paying attention to real friends, you're just like, I feel like all I am is a mouthpiece for these ideas that came before me. Yeah. Which is amazing.
Yeah, and like this year on Warped Tour, Motion City Soundtrack was on the main stage, and like, I fucking love Motion City Soundtrack. Like, that's like been one of my favorite bands since I first listened to I Am the Movie. And, and like, just to be able to, like, play Warped Tour and, like, that band being there, like, because they were another band that, like, once I Blink led me to, like, Motion City Soundtrack starting line, and Newfound Glory was there too. Like, all just being able to, like, see those bands and, like, in a different perspective, and to have them be so, like, welcoming. Like, Jesse from Motion City, he was really supportive of a lot of the younger bands. Like I see him, like, every other day, like, repping Assistant shirt up on stage, and it's like, and we'd be, like, back there, like, holy shit, like, this is fucking wild.
Like, this is weird.
And it was so cool, like, cause, like, we'd be, like, sitting, like, by the back side of the stage, like on the grass, like, waiting for them to start playing so we can go up the ramp, and then, like, Jesse would see us, like, chilling down there, and he'd be like, guys, like, come up, like, do you guys want a beer? Like, do you guys want to, like, like, what's up? Like, and it's like, and it's just, like, sitting there, like, oh my god, and, like, but they were so cool, and it's like, to be able to see bands that had such an impact on you, like, be so genuine and nice. It's like that just really shows you that it doesn't matter. Like, anybody that had an attitude on Warped Tour, I didn't run into. Like, everyone, at least everyone that was out was everyone that was down to hang and chill. And it's like nobody really had, like, beef with anybody that couldn't be solved by just being on the opposite end of the parking lot.
Sure. Which is awesome, and that obviously, like, like you were alluding to earlier, where it's just, like, it fosters that sense of, like, I feel like I'm where I need to be. I'm in the community that I need to be. Like, you don't feel like this sense of alienation where it's just like, because it's very easy to become jaded very quickly on negativity. It's easy to, like, latch onto that. But it's nice to be able to, like, rise above that and be like, no, I'm just going to ignore that. Yeah. Like you said, I'll leave that on the other side of the parking lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are certain like, pieces of negativity that I think that you have to cling to some of that sometimes. Like you have to be, like, I would prefer to be a realist than an optimist, because, like, you have to consider that, bad shit's gonna happen. There are gonna be people saying shitty things, doing shitty things. Like, that's inevitable. I mean, there's negativity everywhere, but it's like, I like to ignore it. I think that I come off as a little bit of more of an optimist, but I mean, I know that you have to at some point acknowledge all of that. But
right, yeah. The ascension of Real Friends to where you're at now, where it's like, obviously, you guys are writing for a new full length, all this type of stuff. How does it sit with your Well, first of all, how did it sit with your parents when you were like, hey, like, because were you going to school, like, after, like, did you go to college at all?
Well, I went to community college for 2 years. I got my degree from there.
Oh, cool.
We started Real Friends. Well, I actually didn't start the band.
Right.
But Kyle and Dave hit me up, because I'd known Dave for a while. I had just recently met Kyle.
Right.
Dave and I had like, at one point, like, wrote some music together, and, like, we all knew each other from old bands, and they coincidentally hit me up the same day that I filled out an application for Illinois State University.
Okay.
So, like, and I didn't pay to have it sent yet, because I was waiting for my paycheck to go through.
Right.
So like they just kind of hit me up and they were like, yo, like we want to see if you'd be a good fit for this band that we're trying to put together. And like Kyle sent me some lyrics, they sent me a song. I went to Kyle's house, we put it together.
Why did they have an inclination that you would be a good singer?
Oh well, I mean, I had recorded with Dave before, and like I thought that Dave and I had some good chemistry.
Got it.
Before, and like I knew Dave really well. They actually had a singer before me too.
Oh, okay. Got
but like that dude was really flaky. Like they had half a song idea with him.
Right.
And then that dude was kind of like, oh, I don't want to commit to this.
Right.
So I don't know if you'd consider me not an original member. I mean, if you think about it, technically I
you're kind of not.
But and then like I was actually trying to get some sort of band started with Kyle's roommate that lived with him at the time.
Oh, okay.
So it was us and like 4 other people, and we were like switching out instruments and stuff, and like this person sings this song, this person plays guitar this song, and so
you guys were just doing basically it was a lot of experimentation.
Yeah, so
and
and like Kyle was like there to see some of it. So like and Kyle was like, oh yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I'd like to see what I can do with you in this. In this neck of the woods.
Right. The idea of you just being like a standalone singer, like that's hard to do.
Yeah, well, because when I played with Dave, I played bass and I sang.
Right.
And we were strictly just recording.
Right.
And we finally got some people, like, as a band, and then, like, I had a really hard time, like, playing bass and singing at the same time, so he's like, how about we try where you just sing? And I'm just like, I don't know, like, we can try it, and then, like, we did that, and that band obviously didn't work out, and then, like, so then, then they got together, yada, yada, yada. And then,
Right. So, but do you, like, do you still feel weird singing by yourself, or is it?
I've gotten used to it. I mean, because we've been a band for 3 years, and it's just like you get used to it, and like I feel like I was kind of I was never like a front man, or anything. I was always just like the guy that would throw in a little comment. So I never had experience like having to talk it, like basically like needing to talk at shows, But Kyle did, so Kyle would take care of that for the longest time, and like we had a lot of trouble. Like I've had a lot of trouble. Like I'll admit, like trying to talk to people. Like I would try talking like after songs, and like I'd be like really flustered because like when we'd start picking up momentum and like I'd have like 15, 20, 30 kids like screaming at me in my face, and then it's like it can be kind of like
it's
flustering.
overwhelming.
And it's like, and I'd be like in this like sensory overload, and then like I'd just start talking after the song and like just like be saying random shit, and they're like looking at me and they're like, what are you saying? Like, like seriously, like I would, like I've even had problems with it on this tour, where it's like, cause like I've been really overwhelmed. And I'll just like sometimes I'll just like trail off and stuff, and it gets to be a problem sometimes. But like they tell me, they're like, oh, we can, like we talk about it, we sit down, we're like, oh, we can do this better, we can do this better. Just make sure you take a breath, don't put yourself out of.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's just like you're a sensitive dude, and like that is a very impactful moment.
Yeah.
Of like, here I am sharing these lyrics with these 30 people in front of me, and then it cuts off, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, Dan, you're fucking on. Like, say some really funny shit. And you're just like,
no, but like seriously, like if you see, like I hope there aren't any YouTube clips, but if you see, like it's like painful to watch kind of stuff. But it's like I think. Personally,
well, and I think it goes back to what you're saying, where it's just like I think there definitely is a difference between like the proverbial frontman versus a lead singer. Like it's very rare to have a person that instantaneously feels comfortable with both. Yeah. Where it's like it's very rare.
Yeah. There are a lot of like I don't know. It's definitely a learning experience. Being in this, everything about this band has been a learning experience for me, and it's like I never was in a band. Like I said earlier, I was never in a band that. At least I had any expectations for it. It's just like, like just play some shows and like,
and that's
what the fuck ever. Like never in the back of my head had like these like, everyone else that I was with, like they kind of like pressured me into being like, oh yeah, like we're gonna be the biggest band in the world. Like yeah. And then
like
so I
kind
of like say that like, oh yeah, but it's like I just wanted to play some shows, and they were not down with that. Like we had like there was like just such a difference between like me and them, and like
when you came to your parents and you were like, hey, like, so I'm gonna do this thing, I'm gonna do this band, like, did it, was that extremely difficult? Did it make sense in the context? Like, were they just like, oh, Dan, that's great?
Well, I told them I'm like, yo, I'm gonna keep going to school, I'm gonna keep doing the community college thing,
right?
It's like obviously like I can't have any expectations for this band, it's like I'm 19, 20 years old. It's like I can't depend on it right now. You know, it's like I can't have any like, oh, this is going to be what I'm going to live off of, blah blah blah. So it's like I have to go to school, and like I know that. So you know, I'm going to community college. My parents were like I was like, you know, if anything were to happen, hypothetically, it's like, yeah, I'm going to drop school, and they're like I don't like that. You know, they're like, I don't like the idea of that. But then like my parents have only been to our first show, so they never had an idea of the band,
right?
Really, at least at what point we're at now.
Of course.
So when things started like picking up, and I never really wanted to like have them included to a certain extent in that life, just because I don't want to mix business with pleasure, I guess, or with my home life. Yeah, like I don't want to like subject them to that, and so they never really have a clue of how or where Real Friends is at, and but like once they start seeing things online, and like my mom checks up with us on Facebook, she's more comfortable with the idea, and like I tell her like, oh, like there's this band, Senses Fail, that I listened to when I was 14, and they like I remember giving my friend money to buy me Let It Unfold You from Hot Topic, like, you know, and it's just like to like hold that CD, listen to that CD, and be like, yo, like this band, like I pulled the CD on, it's like, yo, like this band asked us to be on tour with them, and then like once they saw that, and it's like, yo, I'm gonna be like going to like California, and like I'm gonna be doing like like cool, really cool shit. They kind of like let down, and they're like, because it's like there's the fact that like school's gonna be there.
Sure.
So if I really need to go back, like, you know, band doesn't work out, like, you know, you never know. Real Friends might not be around for another year.
Right, of course.
So and I hope we're a band for as long as we can be, but it's like you know, the reality is that a year from now it could be gone.
Yeah, this could end. No one has any idea,
so like I told them, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna get my degree from community college. Like nothing's gonna stop me from getting that. I want to be at that point where I have something to fall back on.
Right.
And you know, once they saw that I wasn't necessarily blindly going into it, like they were more comfortable, because my dad was all about security.
Right.
You know, he wanted to make sure that like, you know, I'm set. He was really just looking out for me.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
Like,
which is, I mean, it's good. Like, I mean, it sounds that you approached it in a very practical manner. You were like, okay, like I'm being realistic about this. That's probably what gave them more comfort than anything else. Where it's just like, because you know, when you're a kid and you have the idea, like, I mean, I distinctly remember like talking to my mom about dropping out to tour with my band, and it was one of those, I mean, my mom's a school teacher, and me like proposing the idea of like I'm gonna be gone for probably about like 6 months, it was just like, what are you talking about? Like, but she trusted me because I did like you, where I was just like, I'm realistic about this, like this is kind of a moment in time rather than my long-term business plan, like, you know, my long-term life. So it's like, I think that approach probably makes parents feel more comfortable, because they're like, oh, he's not being like, oh yeah, look, what are you gonna be, the Beatles? Yeah. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, like they always like in the back, like on the back burner, they always had a problem with me being in a band, like for those reasons. But like I would always kind of just be like, well, tough shit, like I'm in a band anyway. Like, you know, like because I was like being realistic with it, but I was also like, there would be times where I would be defensive about it, because it's just like, it's like, yo, like why are you coming down on me? Like I'm just like, I just want to play some shows, like, you know. It's like, because like obviously like whenever you see a teenager in a band, it's like, oh, like like they like it's like, oh, this is gonna be a career for me. Like all the kids are like, I wanted.
You're gonna throw your life away.
You got these dreams, like blah 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 blah. It's like, you know, it's like, it's just like, yo, just let me play in my fucking band. Like,
leave me alone, mom and dad. Yeah. Because, you know, kind of like what you were saying, where it's like, you know, it's an overwhelming experience. You know, playing in, you know, whatever, in Portland and having, you know, 15 kids sing along to you, like that's a weird experience. And because the lyrical content that you put out there is obviously so like hard on the sleeve stuff, like, you know, you're really, you know.
Oh, I don't write the lyrics.
No, right. But I mean, like the way that the band is presented, like it's a very, you know, like we're open, like this is what we're talking about. The people obviously identify with those lyrics, like, and they're, you know, very much placing a lot of whatever they're experiencing on you guys, and like the sort of conversations that I'm sure you're having after shows is probably just as overwhelming as the show.
Yeah.
You know, like how is that sitting in your own head? Like, are you still obviously getting used to that idea of like people coming up to you and being like, oh my God, like hear these things, like I hear these gifts, like hear these, you know, I was really depressed and I was going to commit suicide. So until I listened to the Real Friends record, you know, like, I mean, I'm not belittling that, but it's just like, there's so much emotional weight that you put out there, but then also gets thrown back at you, but you're not expecting that.
Well, it's definitely it's definitely weird to me because like I was one of those kids that would deal with that kind of stuff because my dad was diagnosed. I think sometime when I was in later in high school, my dad was diagnosed with very, very mild skin cancer, very early stages of it.
Sure.
So like, but still, that's like you hear cancer, and it's like, oh shit, like that's
serious,
real
life.
Yeah, that's serious shit. So like, you know, I listened to a lot of Set Your Goals at that time. Like I was really like, you know, that band really helped me out of that situation. Like, and I saw them at Warped Tour that year. I think it was like 2009, and I told them, and I was like, yo, like your CD, like, yo, you guys fucking like really helped me out. And like they were just like, yo, dude, like, you know, glad your dad's doing better. Like, you know, it's like I was in that situation, so it's like anybody that's coming to me with their problems, like that's awesome because like bands have helped me like through a lot of shit, you know, like, you know, because like we come to shows because, you know, we can't fit in anywhere else, and like to be able to go there, you know, be on that level with those people that help you out, it's like it's good. It's really therapeutic, you know, to be able to tell that person that, oh, you helped me out, and it's really humbling to see like that being returned to me. It's like it's really surreal because like that we are able to help these kids. Like all they have to do is just press play on their iPods and their problems are gone for, you know, the 15-20 minutes that our CD's on. Like it's just so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because I did that when I would listen to like Based on a True Story or albums like, you know, like Commit This to Memory and I just keep referencing these. I know I keep referencing these bands, but like, like that's the point. It's like those are, you know, those albums made me feel that way.
Right.
It's like to have someone else feel that same way.
Right.
It's incredible.
And sort of last thing to hit on, just because I find it so interesting because it's like, you know, you guys are essentially on kind of the, you know, the precipice of the rest of your band's career, you know, like as far as like a debut full length and all these other like high marks in bands' careers, you know. Does it feel, you know, does it freak you out? Like, to be honest, like as far as like just like the enormity of what could happen within the next like, you know, 2 to 4 years? Like, does it scare you, excite you, or is it just like a mixture of all that?
It's just kind of everything. Like it's like another overwhelming thing. Like I'm excited because we have all these awesome opportunities. Like,
of course, it
excites me, but then it scares the shit out of me because then it's like, you know, because then you just have all these sets of eyes on you and like what you're doing, and like to an extent it's like you feel like there's like kind of a breach of privacy.
Yeah.
Because then it's like there's expectations.
Sure.
But then I really try, and like we all try to kind of remove ourselves from that because that's scary because it's like it's scary and it's flattering because like it's awesome that people like, you know, they expect something out of us and like they expect like, you know, they want like a really good full length. They're very like, you know, they're excited for it, and I'm really glad. Like I want to deliver that to them. And it's just kind of like sometimes it gets really stressful because like I can't satisfy them if I don't satisfy me, if we don't satisfy ourselves.
Right.
So it's like sometimes like you can blur the lines between like, because it's like to an extent like I know that you have to consider fans, but then at the end of the day it's like it's our record.
Yeah, you're going to be playing the song.
Yeah, we're going to be playing them a million times.
Forever.
Like I'm going to be sitting in my room fucking screaming over the demos, trying to figure out vocal melodies like for like weeks on end. You know, like we're going to be in our practice space. Like it's like, you know, like we're just like, I think we're finally getting better at removing ourselves from it, just kind of being like, what's the record that we want to write? And it's like we're like everything, like, you know, we kind of like we're in that mindset. It's like we want to write like those records that helped us as a kid, like going back to that, like keep like, you know, it's like we want to impart like what like this means to us in that, because it's like it just keeps coming like full circle. It's like it's like, you know, like it's like we're doing this for a reason because we like this. Like it's like we're not like, I'm not making money to be able to get some like nice apartment. Like fuck no. Like if I did, like I'd be doing it. Like I wouldn't be living with if I had an option, I wouldn't be living with my parents. Like fuck no.
Right.
Like, you know, like I mean I love living with my parents, don't get me wrong, but it's like if I had the option I would. It's like like we're not having any expectations from this band. It's like, but then for other people to have expectations, it's like kind of weird. So like
there's that whole duality where it's just like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense because it's like you're having these experiences of a young band, and like you need to be given time to grow, you know? Like not only just like as people, but as musicians within the context of your own band, and to like have all these to have all this expectation thrust on you earlier on in your career.
Yeah.
There's definitely that, like, it's like on one hand you're like, that's awesome because all this attention is brought to us, but on the other hand you're just like, can you just chill out for a sec? Like, I'm sure
like,
there's
leave
that.
me alone. Like,
right.
Let me turn my phone off for like 3 hours and like chill.
Yeah.
No, because I mean, like there are a lot of times where like it's like I want to like sometimes see what people are saying. Like it's like I'm curious sometimes as to like people's opinions on Real Friends. And then I go to the wrong places. Like I go to like Absolute Punk, and I go like they hate us. Absolute Punk hates us.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes like I like seeing that because then it's like.
Is it like, is that like fuel to your fire? You're like,
well,
all right.
I like seeing it because it's kind of like finally someone doesn't like us. Like it's kind of like nice. It's nice to see that you can't please everyone,
right?
But then it's like you want to like try to be like, well, it's like how can we
like, convert that person?
Yeah, because like because a lot of people can be closed-minded because like our band, like we gain a lot of momentum quick, like
right.
you know, and. Yeah, that's really cool. We're really fortunate, but like a lot of people are turned off to our band,
of course,
because
they won't even give you a chance because of the popularity that you've gained. So
because they think like, oh, there's like a decent amount of people like listening. It's like why?
Yeah.
Like, it's like this isn't special, but if they heard us like 6 months prior to that, they'd be like, oh, this is a pretty cool band.
100%.
Like it's like maybe like fifth listen. It's like maybe they don't get it first listen, but like fifth, sixth listen, it's like, oh,
totally.
You know, this is I can at least like appreciate this. This is like cool. Maybe it's not like something I'd listen to all the time, but if they're at a show. I'll watch the set.
Yeah.
Cool. Like I think that there's a lot better ways to go about it, but I love to see people shit talk Real Friends online. It's like, but we're at the point now though where it's like, cause like I would retweet that, like I'd search people that don't mention us but are talking shit, like just to like poke fun, just to have shits and giggles. So then so then it's like, so I show those people like, ha, I saw that. And then,
totally.
But then now it's getting to the point where like all these kids like unnecessarily attack these people.
Right.
And
you're
it's
like, I can't do that.
Yeah, it's like, yo, you're a fucking bitch. Like, fuck you. Like, and I mean, quotes.
Air quotes,
air quote, faggot, air quote. Like,
of
they
course,
say like that. And it's like, can you not say that?
Chill out. Right.
It's like you don't have to say like, "Yo, fucking kill yourself, you fucking bitch, faggot."
Right,
cocksucker,
because you don't
pussy.
like Real Friends. Calm down.
Or because you like, or
vice versa,
because you don't like Real Friends.
Right.
It's like those kids in the first place. Like that attitude is what can because it's like this is the last place people can turn to. It's like why do you have to act like that when when there's nowhere else to turn to.
Yeah.
It's like then those kids just have to sit at home. It's like, oh, you don't like Real Friends? Fuck you. It's like I don't want our band to be the reason that like people are turned off to
Well, I think I mean last thing to hit on, because I think it's such an interesting idea that like it really depends on when you hear a band and like where they're at within their own musical career, because it's like I can guarantee that like I mean people that I know where it's like they won't give you like your band a chance at all because they'll have heard like, oh yeah, they're just like ripping off band A, B, and C, whatever, and it's like, but that like. If a person is able to not hear that before they hear your band, they probably would like you guys. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just like, and I don't know, maybe it's just because I've been able to do it for a long time where it's like, I really try to drop any sort of like preconceived notions that I have, like when listening to a band, because I try not to let what other people's opinions taint my opinion of a band, but it's like, you guys, like while it's awesome that you received this much attention, it's also like it's a blessing and a curse in a way, because you're going to lose a lot of people that probably wouldn't have ever checked you out in the first place.
I mean, it like sucks. But I mean, it happens. Right. It happens with every band, and then like then you start getting to the point where you start to lose the kids that were there in the beginning because maybe like they don't like. It's like, oh, this new CD sounds the same, or this new CD sounds way too different, or maybe like it's a natural like, oh, like I still really like this band, but I just kind of like
or the fact that they'll be like, oh well, like now I'm like 19 years old, like why would I listen to Real Friends? I've grown out of it.
Oh, there are a lot of kids that were like that are a lot of like really like, and it's not even with Real Friends, it's just in general where they'll be like, oh yeah, pop punk's really cool for like maybe 2 years, and then they discover like a really cool like cool quote unquote hardcore band, or like a really cool like indie band, or like some like cool band. It's like, oh no, fuck this shit, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be with pop punk. Maybe they were listening to hardcore before, or maybe they were listening to like pop or something. But like any person that just like listens to something and see like, oh, this is like cool, and then like fuck everything else, like just like all of a sudden turn their back on. Like that's so dumb. Like
It's
that's
so
like
dumb.
like those people are very flavor of the week and really like very trendy and
Right.
and like there were one of my friends that will remain unnamed that I heard that she was like real real friends, like it's not like cool to go to their shows, and I'm just like, wow. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I personally know you. Like, it's like, it's like, I don't, like, it's like, I'm not personally offended, but it's just like, that's just an instance of that, where it's like, you know, like 6 months ago, like, yo, you would have gone to a show.
Right.
It's like now because we're not like this band or we're not this band or we're not this band, you're not going to go to the show. It's just
and you're like, and ultimately, that's not your fault.
Yeah,
it's not your band's fault.
Not.
You're just a victim. You're a victim of circumstance, preconceived notions, hearsay, whatever. Like, you're just a victim of all that, and it's just like, well, we're just gonna be us.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I can't ask for pity for anybody because I think that we're very fortunate.
Oh,
so
for sure.
I can't be like, oh, look at me, these people don't like me. Like I can't I can't do that because I
because that's not how you feel. Yeah.
Because I mean, for all of the people that say bad things about your band, there are more people that have nice things to say to you, and those kids, those kids, I like to have that. We have a relationship with those kids.
Of course, right. You've developed something meaningful over time.
Yeah.
But. Well, Dan, I really appreciate you BSing with me in your van. It was highly enjoyable for me, and I hope it was enjoyable for you.
These are the best interviews, like seriously.
So that was a chat, right? Did you feel that energy? I hope it kind of came through via our microphones and just everything that was bouncing off. I really did feel like I was vibrating by the end of that conversation, and it was awesome. So check out Real Friends. I personally, like I said, really enjoy them, and I think you would as well. 100wordspodcast.com. Visit that site I post random shit throughout the week, so there you go. Enjoy. propertyofzach.com. And our editor for this episode, as always, great friend, Tom Richfield. And until next week, be safe, everybody.
You can crank at the thought of it.